Welcome to the fashions. It is not showing. Let's get the pictures. Where are the pictures? Do the talking while I find the pictures. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Well, I like your fish baby.
So the fish babies. It is the full fashion lines. It is the country boy aesthetic. I am the country boys, giving birth to the fishes because all things come from the dialectical process of the water.
It's giving lake and skidoos, catfish, fried fish.
One person's creepy is another person's crappy. Do you get it?
Yeah.
This is the birthing fish. I call this line birthing fish. Do you like it?
Are you going to be spawning later on with that fish?
Only if the team is around.
They should have had a fish in Zoolander as part of his collective.
Ooh.
Do you remember that?
I like the way you think.
If you only had a catfish. Is it a commentary on being catfished on the internet? Filters and trying to look like models.
This?
Yeah.
I don't know what the internet is.
Oh.
I don't use these things.
Oh.
I am involved in the fashions.
How do you get inspiration?
All of the things that inspire.
Okay.
The things that inspire me are metal, as in the solid metal, not the music. The things that inspire me are chains, the cigarette butt, the boot, the tree, and the Ark of the Covenant. Those are the only things that inspire me in life. Don't ask me why.
What about catfish?
No.
No.
Because the catfish is separate from me. This is part of me. This is in my soul and in my very beings.
You know who you remind me of right now?
Who do I remind you of? Please tell me.
We'll probably talk about
Fashion? Do I remind you of the fashion?
Yes, we'll talk about her later, but her name's Michelle Lammy. And
Ooh.
she wore her husband's head as on her dress.
That is the... Oh, I'm already intrigued.
Yeah.
You must show me this.
We'll pull her up. She looks like your type.
I will, but I can't find the backgrounds.
Okay.
Where is the background? The birthing fish says, hello. The birthing fish would like to give us a kiss. All right. It's enough of the birthing fish. The fall fashion line. It is called Country Boy. It comes with the fish.
Look up Michelle Lammy.
I'm trying to find our background. There it is.
Oh.
See? There.
Okay.
We gotta have that. If you would hit like and share. This is fashion. Do you not know the fashions? Are you a fan of the fashions?
Your eyes are in or you're out. Do Heidi Klum. Can you do that?
I don't know anything. I barely remember what she looks like. I mean, I remember 90s supermodels. And she's married to that guy, Seal.
Yeah.
No, we're never gonna survive unless we are a little crazy. Did you like my Seal?
Kissed by a Rose.
Get it? Seal?
Yeah.
Sing what?
Kissed by a Rose.
I've been kissed by a rose on the grave.
Okay.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
The rose on the grave kisses him?
I
don't know the words to that. All I remember is that it was on the same CD, Batman.
Used to be a gray and tower alone.
It was on the same CD with you too.
Yeah.
Hold me, throw me, kiss me, kill me, right?
On Batman, yeah. The light.
I don't know the words to that though, so I can't sing that. If you would hit like and share, welcome Chad Nerds. We're debunking all of the debunkers. No, I'm just joking. We are analyzing the fashions.
Hey,
fashions.
I think we deserve an apology because all these rocks are getting picked up and all the bugs are scattering out. Everyone's noticing now, like big names on big channels, and it's interesting to me now how things get traction because like people like Vigilant Citizen have been doing this for 10 years or more.
Well, I was doing it before Vigilant Citizen, by the way.
Well, I mean, you obviously, but also good quality. Like, if you want more evidence of all of what we're going to talk about in pop culture, like, I can't think of another cataloged resource that's better than that one. Mm-hmm. As far as visuals, like pictures and descriptions.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go to his symbolic pics. Because that's what everybody likes.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this goes back, like 10 years. Symbolic pics of the month.
More than 10 years.
Is it?
I remember 2011.
Okay.
So, 11 years?
Illuminate confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Is it... Can you guys hear us good?
At Peddler's Mark.
I can't see the colors, right? And so I thought this was I know we're muted. I thought this was a Versace, and it was handed down to me. It's not a Versace. It's a Dries Van Noten. So he's some other elite designer, and his camos go for $300, and you could get the same freaking shirt at the co-op for $1. It's the same shirt, I guarantee you. Made by the same foreign child, we'll say. I think. I don't know.
I've actually been on like a kick to replace a lot of things in my wardrobe with natural fibers instead of synthetic ones.
Is that code for me? The things in your closet that need to be replaced?
Yeah.
Jamie's all speaking in code. I'm about to get replaced. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, you and Kristen did that podcast on how the makeup is all toxic.
Yeah,
and so you got to get organic makeup.
But there's so much poisons in clothes, like synthetic plastic polyesters, and they just get worse and worse. And now it's hard to find things that aren't made from trash.
You mean literal trash?
Yeah, recycled trash fibers and
stuff
like that.
This is the theme of Zoolander 2.
Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about tonight, right?
Yes. So you want to talk about the movies first, or the...
No, let's go through some of... We'll talk about the movies in the middle. Let's go through some of these. So, so I didn't even realize... I will have to apologize. I'm issuing a public apology to everyone because I misgendered my shirt, my Versace camo. It's not. It's a Dries Van Noten. And that's Dries Van Noten.
It feels good.
No, that's me, not the shirt. The shirt just feels like an old damn camo shirt that you get from the co-op. By the way, we've done many podcasts here and there referencing the high fashion world, which is a bunch of degeneracy and scammery and ridiculousness, obviously. And we're going to talk about some of the other elements that a lot of people have become aware of now because high fashion has been exposed. No, not just high art, right? Has been exposed as a giant money laundering cover scheme through a series of documentaries. We're going to touch on some other supermodel people. Work, turn to the left, work. No, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the people who've been models and were spies. Yes, many model spies. Several are going to come up tonight. Because we haven't done a whole lot on the supermodel. I can't say them all. Is a supermodel?
I'm a model. Hey, Right Said Fred follows you.
Yes, we do have a follower in amongst the Freds. And he was retweeting me the other day. I forgot what it was. I don't remember. But they're an old Boiler Room listener. And we covered New on Boiler Room. Do you guys remember the New? This is Celine Dijon's clothing line that has to do with the New World Order. And so she actually has, some of them are called New Order. And you'll notice quite a few are the inverted pentagrams. I think that's Skulls and pentagrams. I mean,
Yeah,
it's,
lightning bolts, monster mouths, and it's all black and white and devoid of anything childish whatsoever.
yeah, and this is for kids, right?
Yeah.
What are kids into? Skulls in the New World Order, of course, right? I mean, what else would a kid be into other
Disembodied eyeballs and monster mouths with teeth.
than right?
The commercial for it was ridiculous. Do you remember that? She breaks into a
Oh yeah.
baby ward and she sprinkles her Celine Dion glitter on all the babies, and they're wearing that nasty crap, and then the police come and arrest her, and she's like, "You can't do this, I'm Celine Dion."
You better work.
That's
I
what
do
the
remember that.
lady cop.
Yep. Also, guys, one of the mods, if you could find the fashion episode of Boiler Room that we did, it should be on YouTube. And could you put that into the chat? One of the mods, thank you very much. Appreciate that, because it's super relevant to what we're talking about today. And I forgot to pull up that episode of Boiler Room. But as you'll note, for many, many years, this has been archived over here at, who is this? I can't read it. Is it Lovato? Is that Demi?
I can't tell.
Right there, what does it say?
Oh yeah, Demi Lovato.
Yeah, so Illuminate confirm, obviously. I mean, if you, I don't follow the fashion world, obviously, right? Because I'm wearing freaking, I'm wearing hand-me-down, okay? So it's not, I'm not elite, if you didn't know. Probably some of you thought I was, but I'm not. Here's Beaver. Justine Beaver over here.
He was in the movie we're gonna talk about.
Yes.
Justin Bieber.
So he has a what the heck is going on?
Whoa, dude.
Is that Beaver? Illuminate confirm. So it's always the one eye, right? They cannot but do this. And I think that there's a mix of things going on here. So it's not just like everybody's a member of the Illuminate confirm, right? Most of these people are idiots and don't know anything about what's really going on. But they might be a low level, witch, or in the Church of Satan or something like this. But you'll notice that in the last few years, the fashion world has been getting increasingly more and more openly satanic, right? You're getting inverted pentagrams, you're getting BDS, what stuff.
CP.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of the monarch stuff everywhere constantly, and it never goes away.
Do you remember when Miley went through that phase where she was a giant sexy baby?
Yeah.
And wearing like bonnets and lollipops.
Ugh.
Oh.
What the heck is that?
Wow.
You think that's a guy? That looks like something from Dagon, dude.
Can they
remember Dagon?
Yeah.
Can
they see this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, we're just scrolling and
Oh.
talking about stuff that they can't see. They have no idea what we're talking about. Whoa, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Who is this? Just some random science person. So-called science. Anyway, you guys get the point, right? So I'm just scrolling through some of these as examples, the symbolic picks of the month. They always show the Economist. But it's usually the fashion stuff is literally always the same 4 or 5 things, right? It's going to be all seeing eyes. It's going to be monarch butterflies. It's going to be pentagrams and
Butterflies.
monarch
things.
butterflies.
Yeah.
And pyramids.
And dark stuff, like looking like monsters and creepy things. There's a tarot card.
Who is that? Adele? That's not Adele.
No, I don't know.
What does it say?
Go down. Madeline.
Oh, why can we not see
Go up.
There's nothing else there.
Madeline Petch, Lindsay Lohan, Britney Spears.
It says symbolic picks, but there's like one pick. Does he have a paywall now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it looks like it's behind a paywall. That's weird.
Well, it's whatever it is, it's worth it if you want a good catalog of all of these images.
Now, we're not going to support Vigilant Citizen.
Why not?
We don't want to support Vigilant Citizen. They're our competition, and they've stolen articles from me. So, no, we're not. They've taken articles and just rewrote a few words of mine. So, no, we don't support Vigilant Citizen. But, yeah, here you go. Is that somebody carrying their own head like John the Baptist? So, this is like altars, right? Alternate disassociation. So, again, fashion is part of the culture war. And so the purpose of fashion is to program culture just as much as music or movies. But we don't usually talk about this because I think this stuff is just completely ridiculous. This whole fashion world. Anyway, we're gonna go past that, and I think I had another. Anyway, what do you have next? Do we want to go to the Balenciaga?
Sure.
Okay, what's up with? Now, I did want to show a little bit of this real quick. You'll notice that this whole mask thing, which I assume, I don't know, but I assume that Ye was trolling, but there might have been some other reference to the fact that Kim had the whole black, covered face thing. You've seen that picture?
Yeah. She's done that multiple times.
Oh, okay. Well, is it a line?
Yeah,
is it
it's like
some kind of line of clothing?
And she's had her daughter go out looking like that.
Okay, so is it part of like promoting the idea of these weird fetish stuff? Yeah. Okay. So here is Balenciaga. You get the idea of just a couple of their recent shoots. It's the same type of stuff, right? All leather, black leather.
Androgyny.
Yeah, with a covered, I mean, it looks like Daft Punk or something, right? It looks like, which that was just being silly, but this is intentionally pushing the sort of darker stuff. And then you said they're inspired by this weird dude. What's his name? Michael Burmans. He must be into the fashions, right? Doesn't he look like one of these high-end people?
Yeah, but his stuff is sick.
Yeah, it's super, super occultic. You can tell that here you have hooded figures doing some sort of satanic type thing, rituals. Some of these I'm not even going to show because they're too weird and graphic, but you get the idea with and he's the inspiration for a lot of their couture.
So this is something that appeared in their campaign when they tried to fix what they had done. So they put out these pictures of the children with the bondage bears. You want to look that up?
No, we're not going to show all that. Everybody's seen the pictures. They've been going around the internet a million times, so we know all that. And
they're like, oh, this is bad, and they took that down. And then they published pictures with a lady at a desk in New York City.
Yes.
And the books behind her are Michael Borman's, that guy you just had, and a guy named Matthew Barney.
Okay.
So pull up that guy. The Cremaster cycle is something that he is responsible for, and he is a very highly regarded artist. Like, he had shows in museums, and everybody has nothing but wonderful things to say about this guy. And he has 5 movies called the Cremaster cycle, and the cremaster is a muscle in your ball sack or something that is responsible for, like, when you get cold and they shrivel up, I guess. I don't know. So that's what that whole cycle of movies
doesn't happen to me. When it gets cold, my testicles grow. They grow to an unmanageable size when it gets cold.
They turn into heaters and they heat you up.
Yes. So that's why I was confused. Not sure what you're talking about, but
see.
So it's this black thing?
Muscle involuntary contraction and occur during...
Yeah, I didn't doubt you, but I'm trying to figure out what...
Okay, so that's him. Oh.
The series.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's movies about balls? I mean, what?
No, it looks like Holy Mountain, and I don't know if you should even, like, try to view these because they look sick. But if you
well, I told you we don't want to look at a whole bunch of the gross stuff. Oh, I saw some of this. So it's like people eating other people, right?
I don't know.
I mean, is that what that... I can't see through the... See, my fashion glasses block the degeneracy. So everybody needs a pair of fashion glasses. I can't see what it is.
He looks like a fawn in one of those things.
Okay, can you just describe for the audience what it is?
But so I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. Like,
okay,
they
so
look
there
like
you go.
Weird art movies.
Okay, so there you go. Ooh, avant-garde. Ooh, wow, eating nasty things.
It looks like Holy Mountain.
Correct. I'm sure he's inspired by Jodorowsky. Okay.
So.
Okay, so and who is this guy?
That's the book that was underneath Michael Borman.
Okay, so they're taking inspiration from these other creepers, right?
Yes.
What's creepy to you is crappy to me. Where's the crappy? Where's the crappies?
It's not a crappie, it's a catfish, but...
What does it say?
You don't even react anymore.
Jarvis?
Don't read these people. Don't read these people.
Okay.
Now, we're not going to pull up every degenerate artist, but we will look at another one of these guys who fits into this, right? Remember him? Remember old Damien Hirst? right? He was the guy that was putting, the creatures into the frozen tanks. This inspired The Cell. We just covered the movie The Cell the other night, right? But he also has all kinds of, pretty blasphemous type stuff. So, this isn't art. There's the one that I was looking for where they're cut. I could not find the one when I was doing the Cell analysis of the cow cut in half.
Art meets science.
Do you remember in The Cell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, right? And so it's all about dissociation. That's the purpose of this art.
Right.
And it's because a lot of these people are like constantly bombed out of their mind on acid.
Look at the Mickey Mouse one.
Yeah, they're bombed out of their mind on acid and getting inspiration, and they don't realize they're getting inspiration from demonic entities. Basically, that's why this stuff always turns out so dark, right?
Yeah. Well, a classic example is the Geiger guy. Right.
Yeah. Well, Geiger was actually into like explicit Luciferian stuff. I mean, he drew Crowley, right? So, this is the high art world.
Well, all the teddy bears in the Balenciaga campaign. Do you remember Kim Noble? The MK victim.
Oh, who
had all
drew
that
about
art.
her? Yeah, I remember that.
So she had a bunch of teddy bears in her stuff.
Right. So here's Giger, and you can see, the positive and negative there on the two sides of the Baphomet. The inverted for the dark powers, the inverted, the going up for the good, the white magic. It's all just dualities. But I wanted to show his.
Look at the babies.
I know, I've seen them all. I used to like this guy when I was a idiot teenager. I was like, oh yeah, cool, it's so dark, dude. Right? But I want to show you that he drew Crowley. Because again, this is the high art world. This is the high art. You don't understand the high art. Okay, this is his drawing dedicated to Crowley, the Beast from 1975, and this chunky ice cream man is Crowley.
Ew.
With the pointy hat. So, this is the high art world. We love the devils. We love the Satan in the high art world.
Well, pull up Michelle Lamy.
Okay, spell it.
Lamy. Michelle Lamy.
Right there? That one?
Yeah. There's your girlfriend.
That's my ex.
Is she dumped you?
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I was too dark for her. She wanted somebody.
So she's a French
Ugh.
fashion designer.
Does she go out with rappers?
And, well...
Does she be going out with rappers?
She's married to American designer Rick Owens, who is nicknamed the Lord of Darkness. He's like a goth designer. And, she's friends with Kim Kardashian and a rapper called A$AP Rocky. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
So A$AP Rocky, they had pictures that came out a while ago of him doing rituals inside pentagrams. And
yes, I've seen that. Yeah, that was when that was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was old.
So there is that cute lady.
Yeah, she's a hottie for sure. And of course, everybody knows about Marina. We're not going to go into her. She's been covered ad nauseum. But she's another example of the high art world. It's so much of the art. You don't understand it. You can't understand it. It's beyond you. There she looks like Egyptian, like a...
Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've never heard of her. So what does she do? Does her fashion look crazy too?
I don't
Or we don't know?
what her stuff looks like. I know that...
It's like trash, garbage aesthetic, it looks like. And that's what's in Zoolander 2.
Rob Zombie, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, in Zoolander 2, in Zoolander 1, it's derelict, right? So, and then it becomes toxic trash.
Yeah.
In Zoolander 2.
They're making fun of the homeless and poor people that spend money on all of their stuff that's just like garbage bags and stuff.
Yeah, it's just garbage, exactly. Okay, so what's next? So you can see the Bourmont stuff is, as above, so below.
Yeah.
Right there. It gets a lot worse. There are pictures that I can't show you. Here's a painting of them burning Tootsie's feet.
Yeah.
So there's other stuff that is viral on Twitter that I'm not going to show you just because it's so. You get the idea. We don't have to see everything horrible and cursed.
Well, you
cursed
remember
images.
that this all kicked off with Paris Fashion Week when they had a runway show that was in a mud pit and everybody was wearing garbage bags and looking unattractive. And no, I'm serious.
Wait,
And
was this before
tracing through the
Zoolander?
mud.
Was it before or after Zoolander?
This just happened like a couple months ago.
Okay, but let me finish. So that's Zoolander 2,
Yeah.
the trash bags.
Yeah.
Well, Mugatu wears a trash bag in part 1.
Right.
But then in part 2, it's the toxic fashion show.
Yeah.
Where it's like literally everything's toxic.
On a toxic landfill. or
On a
something.
toxic landfill. Yeah.
Well, so they had this show in the mud, and everyone's like, Balenciaga's weird. What are they doing? And they had like unattractive people who are trying to look unattractive. Let's put it that way.
Well, they're trying to make ugly pretty.
Yeah.
By design, because that's inversion.
And
The whole fashion world is converted over into making ugly pretty to see. Well, many of them know what they're doing self-consciously, and it's a form of, it's called aesthetic warfare. It's called, one of those satanic church guys had a aesthetic terrorism. Mm-hmm. He was like one of Anton LaVey's right-hand dudes.
Oh, yeah?
He called it aesthetic terror.
oh, okay.
It's a way to change the culture and do magic by brutalizing and offending people and shocking people through art.
Well, at those shows, they had guys walking around with bags with babies in them that had blood on it and pacifiers and just like all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, it's the normalization of the satanic as a form of psychological warfare to demoralize and brutalize the public. It's that simple, and it's a known strategy. It's not a thing that is my theory. You can read books about this. For example, when you go back to the CIA's support of Jackson Pollock, pop art, Andy Warhol, they all got money from the Congress of Cultural Freedom, and that was supposedly, we got to fight the Soviet realist art. How do we fight Soviet realist art? Oh, we'll do modern art, abstract art, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a whole program to do this. And this is also part of the CIA's alliance with Derrida and the French deconstructionists, and I've put that in my second book, right? So here's the London Independent. Modern art was a CIA weapon, and they used artists such as Jackson Pollock in a cultural Cold War. This comes out of Frances Stoner Saunders, who's an academic, her famous books, The CIA and the Cultural Cold War. Now, do you think that they're only restricting themselves to the art world and Hollywood? No, it's musicians. It's all of this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Well, they had a private show, a private couture show for like upper class people that was only a select few people in a room. Mm-hmm. And with Nicole Kidman was one of the models. Kim Kardashian was one of the models. And it looked like... Do you remember that scene in that Lady Gaga video, Bad Romance, where she has to dance for all the businessmen who bid on her?
Vaguely.
Well,
yes, I think so.
So they're alluding to that these are high class, what's.
Oh, so fashion shows are wink wink.
Yeah.
Like which one you want to
was
buy.
on display. Yeah.
Like who you want to spend the night with.
Right. And it's always like
Take me home
super
tonight.
Famous, Nicole Kidman. Who else was in that? I can't remember, but that's just what it was
Eddie
giving.
Money.
Yeah.
Take me home tonight. I don't want to something.
You go till you see the
I know a lot of people have been requesting me to start singing again, but I've been sick, and so when I'm sick, I can't sing. Guys, if you would hit like and share, we got a nice round number of 400 people. Let's get it to 420, dog. That's just a joke. So back to the fashions.
What else? Did you want to keep talking about the photo spreads? Because I sent you this thing about the Supreme Court document.
Yeah, I don't. But on this YouTube platform, we probably shouldn't talk about that. But the main point, we can describe the main point of this, which is that the push for this stuff is also connected clearly to the normalization of CP.
Yeah. And so underneath a Adidas purse, there's a document called United States versus Williams, and you can look that up and see for yourself what that's about. Mm-hmm. Right?
Now,
so those were the ad campaigns.
Now, I didn't see a lot of the Balenciaga stuff because I'd never even heard, I've never heard of Balenciaga until the last week. So I don't know anything about this.
So the ones with the kids and the teddy bears, it was so weird because it looked like a serial killer's inventory or something. All of the items were just,
Now, did you see the Volkova woman, the other woman?
I have
Did
some
you?
notes
Okay,
on
did
it.
you see her stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff was really gross, so we're not going to show any of that.
She's the
too
main
nasty.
set stylist for them since 2014.
Yeah.
Lada Volkova. And so she works for Vogue, Adidas, Balenciaga, Chanel, etc. Her Instagram that went private was full of like gore.
Yeah.
CHILD GORE.
Right.
Guts.
Yeah, there was
out.
images that included ritual magic.
This
too.
is like another PIZZA GATE.
Well,
because
that got blown up into. There was something to that, but it got blown up.
This is going to happen to this too.
Yeah, they're going to turn this into a fake thing. So remember, guys, what they always do when something like this starts to come out. They will steer it into something ridiculous. And the steering into ridiculous allows the story to be killed. This is what PR firms do. The PR firms handle damaging stories like this. Mm-hmm. And so, you'll notice that...
From PIZZA, we got...
somebody's saying she was fired in 2018. But it doesn't matter because she's been working with all these people since, for years, right? Mm-hmm. Even if she was fired in 2018.
This was the stuff like... It's this layer of people like James ALEFANTIS.
Yeah, I know. Let's not go into that.
PODESTA, all of those. This is just like that because the art is the same. It's all about CP and TORTU.
Don't go into that stuff. Naming people. It's just going to get the channel axed.
Okay. One of her posts on Instagram said devil worshippers perform gruesome rituals in forests.
Right. Yeah, I saw her. You don't even need to see this stuff. It's just horrible stuff, right? That's all you need to know, right?
So she is friends with another creative director named Demna Vasalia.
I don't know who that is.
And another guy named Gosha.
Anyway, a bunch of weirdos. We don't have to name all these people.
Three kind of like, I don't know if they're from Russia or where, Soviet. Here's something that was on Demna's Instagram.
Yeah, so we're not gonna. Again, we don't have to. People get the point. Like, we don't need to go into details of all this stuff because, again, it's like it's not stuff that's appropriate for anybody to be seeing. Basically,
she posted a picture of Moloch.
Yeah. They get the point out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so these are the people, the flies that are swarming around these brands that everybody pays.
Yeah. So in other words, these brands are connected to these just degenerates and weirdos. And
brand is connected to this lady.
No, we're not going to name a bunch of names. That's what I'm saying. Is that people get the point. And let's see. I had some other clips I was going to play. It's not that. What were you going to say?
Well, it just gets worse because Kering, the parent company, also owns this Christie's auction house that has these artists that make children dolls with genitals on their face.
Yeah, again, we get
and it's like, I have pages.
So I think normal, healthy people don't know what is going on with people that are zillionaires into fashion, right? This is what's going on. You understand that the people at that level are just disgusting degenerates. So, I mean, I'm not trying to cut you off. It's just that, like,
I just don't
you
know
can't,
what I can
can't
say or not. So
I mean, that's not my fault. That's
I
YouTube's
know.
fault, right? So, but I mean, you can't. A lot of this stuff, again, it's weird because it's so gross. You can't show it. It's immoral to show it, but it's part of this fashion, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. So we don't have to go into the people don't need. You don't even need to know the details.
And
It's
the people
not,
that own
Paul talks about things that
it's
shouldn't
not
even be
just
spoken.
The Balenciaga, it's all of them because they are all owned by these companies. Artemis SA is one of them, and Kering, and they own, Gucci, Chanel, Alexander McQueen. Wasn't Coco Chanel a spy?
Yeah, she was a Nazi spy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's a weird connection too between both the far left in this stuff and the far right. The far right gets really into the same kind of weird obsession with fashion. We know fashionism, FASCISM. Hugo Boss did that stuff for them, and that was a weird obsession. And a lot of people who are into that far right stuff, for whatever reason, get into far right or get into the far BDS leather stuff, right?
Yeah.
Some of the SS were into that.
Yeah.
So there is this weird connection between both far left and far right obsessing on this kind of weird, creepy, demonic stuff because these are, false dialectics. So, you want to be a far left Satanist or you want to be a far right Satanist? It's just Satanism either way, right? Mm-hmm. It's all degenerate, destructive, and completely gross. But there was something else I was going to pull up now. I forgot what it was.
There is such a thing called street casting.
What is that?
That they do, that this lady who worked for the big island man.
Jeff Simon McEvery?
Yeah. Part of their thing is called street casting, which can lead to...
is that streaking, like what Ray Stevens
no,
does?
just picking people off the street, like, you could be a model or whatever.
Oh, that. Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Yeah.
But they're connecting that to this.
TRAFFICKING.
Because she owned a modeling agency.
Yeah, I understand. People are theorizing that modeling agencies might relate to this.
Yeah,
oh,
and that was in Zoolander.
Yeah, and it's also in Neon Demon. So if you guys haven't seen Neon Demon, it's not the best movie. I'm not necessarily recommending Neon Demon, but I had the freaking thing pulled up. Where's it at? Here it is. I did an analysis of Neon Demon because it has all the revolutionary themes. It has the themes of like the symbolism in the movie literally references the Jacobins in the French Revolution, right? So you have this full-on total revolution against the good that goes on in the movie in the high fashion modeling art world. And in the movie, Kinko Reeve, he plays a recruiter. I think he's the one that initially helps her get into the biz, right?
I didn't remember he was in that.
Yeah, he's the one at the hotel, and he gets her into the biz.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, obviously, it's Illuminate, Confirm. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Neon Demon, what happens is she ends up basically in a house with these elite supermodels, and one of them is, what's her face from Donnie Darko? Donnie Darko's girlfriend, Jenna Malone. And Jenna Malone reveals that they're witches. Mm-hmm. And not only are they witches, they are into pretty much like witchcraft, like Crowleyan level stuff. Like they are interested in taking their monthly fluids and using them in certain ways. They are interested in NECRO stuff. Particularly Jenna Malone's character is into that. And they basically kill is it Ellie Fanning? Is that Ellie Fanning? It's Ellie Fanning, isn't it? Yeah. They kill Ellie Fanning in the story, and they eat her. So it ends up being a CANNIBAL story. Okay, so If you want to know what's really, in my view, is art, Hollywood telling us what is really the essence of the high art world, maybe watch Neon Demon, because it seems like that's what that movie was saying all along. Mm-hmm. Whoa. And Nicholas Refn, who's the director of Neon Demon, if I recall, Alex had him on one time, and he's the guy that did Drive, and he also did what's the one about God? You know what I'm talking about? Only God Forgives. Yeah. You don't remember these? Mm-mm. Well, in Only God Forgives, there's that weird mind control scene where he has to it implies that INCEST.
Oh.
And it's about a hitman basically tracking down Ryan Gosling. Mm-hmm. If I recall. It's been many years since I watched this, but the main point is that there's a really bizarre scene where his mom, Ryan Gosling's mom, is this weird, eccentric, wealthy woman, and she is basically, I don't know if she's his handler or what, but that's his mom, and he's in some way sort of like beholden to her, and there's a bizarre scene where it talks about him going back into her womb and being reborn. Mm-hmm. And the whole movie is Ryan Gosling being beat up and chased across, I don't know where they are, Thailand or something, by some crazy hitman, right? Mm-hmm. And his mom appears to be the handler, and the mom, I think, is like one of the elite that is targeted. I think she ends up dead. I don't remember. It's been years since I watched this. But so I'm pointing this out because similar themes between these two Nicholas Refn films, right? Mm-hmm. And he's most known for Drive with Ryan Gosling. Everybody remembers Drive, right? Right. Mm-hmm. And wasn't that about certain mafias, certain types of organized crime? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a hit or something like that in terms of the organized crime and that. So, in other words, Refn seems to, at some level, I mean, he's not a Christian at all. In fact, in his interviews, he says, "Oh, my movies are nihilistic. They just mean nihilism or something like that." And certainly Neon Demon is that way. But that doesn't mean that they aren't revelatory. I forgot Michelle Williams was in Drive. But isn't he getting revenge for the...
I don't think that was Michelle Williams.
Yes, it is.
No, that's the other girl.
Who?
That's the girl from...
Who is that?
Great Gatsby.
That's Michelle Williams.
Mm-mm.
Who is it then? I can't see. I got my fashion glasses on. So I can't see. Carey Mulligan, you're right. I forgot about Carey Mulligan. Yes, I forgot about her. You're right. They look kind of the same to me. And my fashion glasses blend faces together.
Yeah.
You kind of look like Wonder Woman tonight. You look like Gal Gadot.
She's pretty.
You're my Gal Gadot. Where are we at? Anyway, I've been rambling. So, we haven't covered Refn movies except for Neon Demon. That's the only one I've covered. Of course, it's the most relevant to tonight, but he actually has quite a bit of symbolism in his films. I think there was... Go ahead.
Well, the only thing that's you can't forget about Neon Demon is when she squishes the eyeball.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, that's the CANNIBAL
Yeah.
cannibal stuff in the movie, yeah. Guys, if you would hit like and share, we are having a good time breaking down the grossness of today's so-called art world, so-called high art world, so-called fashions. Are you into the fashions? Do you have the fashions?
It gets worse and worse, too. Like, at some point you have to stop just because it's so bad. Like,
right.
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Did you ever hear that?
Are you talking about when everybody was beat up and wore... Yeah, I know I've heard of this. But
Macaulay
yeah, we're not
Culkin.
gonna... Yeah, let's not talk about that. It's just... That's too much for the YouTube audience. We can't do that.
Sorry, guys. Maybe the Rockfin show.
Yeah, maybe at Rockfin we can go darker, deeper, but... you don't even need, all we need to know is that unspeakable things are going on in the real. So there you go. Now, when it comes to the art world, the high art world, I thought it was also relevant because people have had their attention called in regard to money laundering. That the high art fashion world is a covert way, maybe a subtle way, to launder money and to engage in shady sus activities. Obviously, because half of this stuff isn't even art. It's fake. What? Yes. So Netflix put out this documentary that called a lot of people's attention to this, I don't know, some years ago.
Scandal has the art world up in arms tonight.
A series of fakes that sold for tens of millions of dollars.
The gallery involved in the sale of over 30 fakes.
It takes more than a really talented con man to pull off a forgery of this magnitude.
Anne Friedman was the director of Knoedler Gallery.
She had such a prominent reputation.
Knoedler is one of the oldest art galleries in the country.
Glafira Rosales brought approximately a dozen different works to Knoedler Gallery.
She comes in off the street with supposed masterpieces in the trunk of her car.
Motherwell. Jack.
Maybe that would have been a sign. She's got the masterpieces in the back, in the trunk. Like, maybe that didn't pique anybody's interest or concern there. I mean, what?
All of them from this same mysterious wealthy collector, Mr. X, who was from the Philippines.
This collector was a Swiss collector. He didn't want his name to be disclosed.
Oh yes, it had changed from the Philippines to Switzerland.
You couldn't make this stuff up. It was incredible.
An absolutely bizarre story for any dealer to accept.
It's a business. These works went into the greatest museums in the world.
But there was a point where questions were coming up.
The analysts found that a yellow paint used in the Pollock hadn't been available until 1970. Jackson Pollock died in a car crash in 1950.
Well, I got news for you. Jackson Pollock's originals are also fakes. They're also garbage. They're just splatters. And he was a CIA psyop. Jackson Pollock is a psyop. So I got news for all you dummies that have paid millions of dollars for that. It's intentionally you got psyoped. And no, so notice the high fashion world is not a bunch of elites. It's a bunch of idiots that think they're elites, right?
Well, that's what Zoolander is all about.
Exactly.
Either the paintings are all real or they're all fake.
We all know how that story turned out.
Anyway, so there you go with that, right? The whole art market, high art market. But it's not just this specific story of fakes. I found this whole Yale lecture, which goes really deep into the whole history of the global art market as a giant front for money laundering, kleptocracy, scammery, tax dodging, blah, 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 right? And so there's that one if you want. We're not going to play that one because it's like a 2-hour college course on money laundering. That's weird. And then here's a mini. Did you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Here's a mini little documentary on YouTube that just kind of gets into some of the art world
Let's say
stuff.
you're a criminal with millions or even billions of dollars, but you have one big problem. Transferring large sums of money or carrying suitcases full of cash will raise eyebrows. You need to launder the dough to make the dirty money appear to be clean money, so that then it can be spent anywhere in the world, say on real estate, luxury yachts, or at strip clubs. No questions asked. Fear not. With a little financial detergent, your dirty money can become more or less untraceable. China leads the world in this ancient art. Between 2002 and 2011, some $1.08 trillion departed the country illegally, despite currency control laws that require people to obtain a permit to exchange more than $50,000 a year worth of yuan into any foreign currency. But this is a truly international pastime. Corrupt politicians, drug cartels, alimony deadbeats, nearly everybody's doing it. When it comes to money laundering, there are 3 main steps to doing.
So again, I mean, this is somebody else's video. I'm not going to play this whole thing, but you see how this whole world is a perfect cover for this kind of stuff. So here is this video. If you want to watch it, I'll put it in the chat. It's a nice introduction to this. So notice immediately this world that we're talking about of the high fashion. Yes, A lot of the same people are going to be involved in this world of money laundering. What do you think?
I was thinking about the Simpsons episode with the Balenciaga stuff in it, and I was wondering how...
I haven't seen that, so did you watch it?
No, I wanted to watch it and see what the plot was, because me and Rachel are going to do a show on Sunday, so maybe I'll do it by then.
Here's a story about Picasso, Geneva, $100 billion worth of art, tax haven. So a lot of this stuff is just high price scammery and a bunch of fakery, right? Which is what the Netflix documentary is about. There was something else I was trying to think of in terms of models, and I feel like I'm forgetting something obvious. So we're going to talk about Candy Jones. We're going to talk about what's her name, Griffiths, the Princess of Romanones, and then there's somebody else who was a model that was a spy that I can't remember. But
Mata Hari?
No, I've got that pulled up. I'm talking about somebody that's not in what I pulled up.
Oh.
Well, we covered, you guys, hopefully you guys watched this. We covered the Sonia Uyghur story, right? Maybe that's what it was. Do you remember that? And that's relevant because she's the equivalent of a model, right? I mean, she's a spy in the sense of she was actually co-opted into being an espionage agent, right? By the Allies against the tiny mustache people, and so she had to sleep with them, and some of the upper echelon people she had to sleep with, and she didn't want to do it, and it ruined her career, right? So, what do you think about that?
I feel bad. I feel like that was completely unfair to take.
Yeah, they forced her into it, right?
And so it ruined her reputation forever. Because all that stuff doesn't come out until after they're gone. So she was a pariah for the rest of her life.
Yeah, everybody thought she was just a thought, right? A NASA thought, right?
A traitor.
Yeah. But her handler here, who is this guy, and she's like supposedly, the most beautiful woman in Sweden at the time. So basically the same equivalent as an A-list, model. He, right there, like he recruits her and forces her to do it. And I would presume that some of these other people in Hollywood and whatnot were forced into it as well. It's not, they didn't really want, why would you want to do that? If you have a successful career, you want to work for the government and have your life controlled? That sounds like a nightmare. Who wants to do that?
One of the pictures speaking of spies and Manchurian Candidate and models, one of the pictures on Lada Volkova's Instagram was a little girl tied to a chair, all taped up with VR goggles on, hooked up to a laptop. It looked very MK-ish.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, I mean, the MK Ultra symbolism runs through this kind of stuff all the time. I mean, so there you can see the woman who plays Sonia Uyghur. Oh, wow. And she's pretty close to her, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they look pretty similar. But The Spy was good. It's worth watching. We did a whole breakdown of that movie. And another spy who was a model will relate to the Profumo affair. And this is the famous story of Tori John Profumo, who was blackmailed by a German model. And her name was Gisela Weingard. And this occurred at Oxford in the 1930s. And this was when John Profumo had a secret relationship with a glamorous NASA spy. And it turns out that she was blackmailing him. Profumo was forced to quit the government after his 1960s affair with dancer Christine Keeler. So that's another separate story, but he was being blackmailed before this. And the Christine Keeler thing was recently declassified by British intelligence, and it's, of course, known as the Profumo affair. At the height of the Profumo affair in 1963, MI6 sent a letter and files to MI5 about Profumo and Weingard, outlining their wartime exploits. 1963, the letter goes on to discuss in 1951 the application of Weingard for her husband for a UK visa. MI6 letter claims that Weingard had recently engaged in blackmail activities and now thinks it was possible that their intended visit to the UK may have been connected with this. And so here's a little bit of a video that covers some of the details of that. This is a fascinating espionage story. And keep in mind, why am I talking about this? Because she was a model, right? Not Keeler, she was a dancer. But the German woman, Gisela, was a model.
Soviet spy, mix them together in the middle of the Cold War, and you have the recipe for one of the greatest political scandals in British history. Today we'll be taking a look at the Profumo affair, a love triangle which became front page news in every newspaper in Britain during the early 1960s and helped bring down the conservative government of Harold Macmillan. Let's take a look at the main characters involved in this scandal and see how their lives brought them together. We'll start with the male protagonist of the story, John Dennis Profumo, since the whole thing was named after him after all. He was born in 1915 in Kensington, London, part of the very rich and influential Profumo family, which came from Italian nobility based in the Kingdom of Sardinia. Even though John never used the title,
I'm going to skip ahead.
Oxford, where he had a romantic tryst that somewhat foreshadowed his future affair, which brought him notoriety. According to declassified MI5 documents, during the 1930s, while still in college, Profumo was in a relationship with German model Gisela Weingard, who was later convicted of espionage. 1940 was a big year for John Profumo. His father died, leaving him his baronetcy and his fortune. He also had his first taste of political success, as he had been elected as a new member of parliament, or MP for Kettering, becoming the youngest MP.
We're going to skip ahead to the Churchill period.
He was regarded as one of the promising up-and-comers of the Conservative Party. He held various positions, mainly for the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in 1960 he was appointed the new Secretary of State for War under Prime Minister Harold Macmillan. His private life wasn't too shabby either, as in 1954 Profumo married Valerie Hobson, a popular actress of her day, best known for her roles in the movies Kind Hearts and Coronets and Bride of Frankenstein. So now let's move over to our tale's second protagonist, Kristin Margaret Keeler. She was born in Uxbridge, West London on February the 22nd, 1942, and her early life was markedly different from that of Profumo. Her father left the family when Christine was a small girl, and she then had to relocate to the village of Raysbury with her mother and her new partner, who lived in a pair of converted railway carriages. Keeler may have been abused when she was young. It's a bit unclear due to conflicting statements.
Now, notice that, so the person involved in this may have been abused, right? So let's skip ahead to people that, if you're familiar with my Quigley lectures, you will know about the Astors.
William Astor, the third Viscount Astor, and the two were close enough that the Lord even allowed Ward and his entourage to vacation at his country estate called Cliveden. And this is exactly what Ward and Keeler were doing over the
This is the Cliveden set that is so prominent in Quigley's talks, in Quigley's works.
Weekend of July the 8th, 1961. They were relaxing by the swimming pool when Lord Astor introduced them to two new guests, the actresses Valerie Hobson and her husband, War Secretary John Profumo.
What do you want?
So notice that this is the stuff with Jeff Stein, McEffrey. This is nothing new, right? This is like just classic state, big state politics. This is what espionage at a certain level is involved. It's human compromise. So you have to be aware of this because this is how the world really works, right? Jeff Stein, McEffrey is not some new phenomenon. This is
and
what.
He's not the only one.
Exactly.
John Profumo was smitten with the young model who was swimming naked when he first laid eyes on her. Stephen Ward on
This is all a setup. So she's swimming naked next to him, right? Shocker. Maybe he'd be a little more suspicious of things that occur, right?
Mm-hmm.
other hand, was more interested in another one of Lord Astor's guests, a Russian diplomat named Yevgeny Ivanov. Officially, Ivanov was listed as a naval attaché with the Soviet embassy, but everyone knew he was actually a spy working for the GRU, the Soviet Military Intelligence Agency. Ward had been approached by MI5 to help them cultivate a relationship with Ivanov, as they hoped he would defect to their side. Their association was a two-way street, as Ivanov also tried to pump Ward for information regarding his high-profile clients. According to one government report, Ward had at least 40 ministers and MPs as patients, so it's understandable how both MI5 and the Soviets could see him as a valuable resource. We don't know whether or not Ward asked Christine Keeler to have any kind of liaisons with any of the men at Lord Astor's party, but he certainly did not discourage her relationships. Both Profumo and Ivanov met her for the first time on that weekend, and they both began affairs with her soon after. Now we arrive at a contentious point in the story, one which has multiple versions, and we cannot say...
So you get the idea, essentially this becomes sexual blackmail, and then it goes down in history as the Profumo affair. I know there's something I'm not remembering when it comes to models and spies, but oh, I know what it was. It's the Sonia Griffith story. So we played this the other day, and I won't play this whole clip, but just a little bit to remind you guys that a lot of these stories are more, I mean, they might be recently declassified, right? So it's not like, well, we'll never know. No, some of these things eventually get declassified, and they go and write their books, and they tell their story, like this woman, who nobody knew was a spy until pretty recently. Although when you hear her story, it's pretty obvious. But keep in mind that there's a lot of people who we may never know, or we will know because it will be declassified, and books will come out. This is a new book.
Miami Beach, and it's unclear how many more lives would have been lost were it not for American spies who were deployed around the world to infiltrate the Nazis. One is an incredible story of an American woman who was, until now, with a secret story, but it's being told in a new book, The Princess Spy. I recently sat down with the author, Larry Loftus. Back in the early 1940s, Elaine Griffith was a young model from New York.
She was a normal girl living in a very small town, Pearl River, New York. Nothing unusual about her other than she was very attractive. And she becomes a spy.
Her unbelievable story now being told for the first time in the new book, The Princess Spy.
Elaine's brothers had actually joined the war, and she was bent on doing something.
So are you noticing a pattern here? Hollywood, high fashion, music industry, the art world.
Mm-hmm. Did you mention Hugo Boss?
Yeah, I've said it like 10 times tonight. Do you not listen to my... So, does everybody know about Candy Jones? So, exactly the details of this, it's a little unclear. Some people dispute some of the details of this story. So, it may not all be completely the case. I don't know. But I'm going to play this clip because this is a fictional presentation of, I think it's a summary of what was in Donald Bain's book, The Control of Candy Jones. And Candy's story is that, oh, that's what I was going to pull up. I was going to pull her up because she was like the supermodel of the 40s and 50s. She went on the USO tour. And her story was that she was put into these mind control programs, right? I mean, she was, you know, like Grace Kelly level, you know, looking woman. And that's the book. The book is out of print. It's hard to buy or hard to find, but so that's her. She was not an actress, but like a pinup model and like this kind of a model, like a magazine model. And there's one of her I found that was like her with an all-seeing eye, which is pretty wild. Let me see if I can find it. And it's an old picture that I put in my book. So she made it into the first book that I wrote. That's it. So there's Candy Jones. You see her there in the 1954 magazine for Kashmir. And notice the it is, you know, highlighting her eye. Mm-hmm. See? Mm-hmm. So you get the idea. What are you thinking?
I was just looking at the other ones. Look at that one.
That's just somebody made.
Oh.
That's not real. So there's not a lot of pictures of her because she was kind of old school, right? Like 40s and 50s. But go ahead. No yawning. We're on a live stream. You can't yawn on a live stream.
Bob Hope was her.
Bryce Taylor.
Oh.
That's another woman who alleges. I think she was a model too, right? So she has a story that she was, messed with by Bob Hope. Of course, everybody knows Marilyn Monroe. It seems like she was some kind of a sex kitten swallow operative for multiple people, the organized crime, JFK, different people. But here's a presentation of the story of Candy Jones. We'll watch some of this because it's pretty wild. And again, this is some weird fictional presentation of it. I don't know. I found this and I thought we should play this. This is a weird clip.
Of America's most popular pinup girls. But she believed there was someone else living in her head. A personality created to turn her into a weapon. Who was the real Candy Jones?
It's like
I love this.
Alias.
It is like Alias, but whoever made this, it's like those reenactment shows, where they reenact crimes.
Yeah, like Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah, so corny.
Candy Jones has just married her second husband, John Neville.
When are the French going to discover the screw top?
Candy's a former model. Neville is a popular New York radio host. It's a match made in celebrity heaven. They haven't been married long before John.
That's how you cut carrots. Are you an MK Ultra assassin woman?
That's how I'm gonna wear my hair from now on.
My alters, they actually see you as that. So what do we do? What do we do with that?
His new wife starts to exhibit mood swings that are sudden.
Smells good, honey.
Get your hand off me.
Whoa, dude.
That was awesome.
Dude, look at that kitchen. That's not even a real kitchen. Look at that fake stove. It's like a CGI stove.
It's a green screen kitchen.
It's an NFT stove.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Darn it.
Do you like her beehive hairdo?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Are you gonna do a beehive?
Not exactly like that.
How much time would it take these 50s women to make a beehive? It looks like that would take a long time.
Also, I couldn't stand the hairspray. Like, that chokes you to death.
How silly of me.
During these episodes, Candy seems like a different person. Increasingly, Candy seems absent, as though in a trance.
Candy?
Neville is desperate to figure out what's happening to his wife.
Relax, honey.
Maybe when you kind of space out, it's because I've accidentally used the trigger codes. So I said the wrong word, and then you spaced out. Is that what's going on? I'm just joking.
That's why
I'm just kidding.
I can't never remember what you said.
Can't never?
Nope.
Is that your redneck alter? There's a California Jamie and a country Jamie they can't never remember.
Candy?
Having learned about hypnotism from a guest on his late-night talk show, Neville decides it might work on Candy.
Hypnosis is a psychological process where you guide somebody into an altered state of consciousness.
I like that whoever made this show assumed that the audience was so stupid as to not know what hypnosis is. Can you explain to the audience what hypnosis is? And then explain to them what a woman is, and explain to them what a knife is. But I guess we're getting to the point where, I can identify as a knife. I can identify as a woman. I can identify as an attack helicopter, like BG Cumbie says, right? So maybe we do need explanations for every item in the visual sequence, right?
You quite simply distract the conscious mind.
She quickly falls into a trance.
You stay calm. Relax. Just listen to my voice. What's your name?
My name is Arlene Grant. I work for the CIA.
What? Doing what?
So I think that this is one of the areas that people take issue with the story. I'm not saying it's false. I'm not saying it's true. I don't know either way. It's just one of the early books that came out about this. But I think some people take issue with it because they'll say, well, I mean, this dude just read a book on hypnosis and then suddenly he could hypnotize her. I mean, that's a little weird.
He was the one doing the hypnotizing.
Well, he might have been a handler. I mean, maybe that's more likely. I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, I think people call into question the fact that he wrote the book. So some people say, oh, they're just trying to make money off the book. I don't know. But I don't have the book because it's out of print and it's hard to get.
I'm an undercover courier, trained to kill and withstand interrogation and torture.
When she comes out of her
Now, to be clear, because a lot of people just out of hand dismiss this as if this is all completely, nonsensical or something like that. There might be areas of the story which don't make sense in terms of whether he was actually hypnotizing or what. But whether this kind of a thing exists is actually in the literature. And it's the famous essay by George Estabrooks. And by the way, this essay was still cited in the DSM. I don't know if it is still anymore, but it used to be cited in the DSM. And it's the Hypnotic Courier paper that Dr. Estabrooks wrote. And I don't know if it's still on the internet anymore. It used to be at Want to Know, I think, that site. Hypnotic Courier, let's see. That's it. Hypnosis Comes of Age. This is it. So this is Dr. Estabrooks' paper that he wrote in 1971. And this is where he claims that he can change he can program different alters with different, this is it, personalities. So, maybe this is bunk, maybe this is baloney, but it's at least claimed by Dr. Estabrooks, who was a real MK Ultra doctor. So it's called Hypnosis Comes of Age. So he admits that he could do it, right?
Mm-hmm. What was that old movie, Three Faces of Eve? Remember that?
Yeah, we did analysis of that. Yeah. So again, we don't know how far this got, but as you can see, the idea is at least claimed to be real from Dr. Estabrooks.
Hypnotic state, Candy Jones is confronted with a recording by someone she has never heard of.
What's your name?
My name is Arlene Grant. I work for the CIA. I'm an undercover courier, trained to kill and withstand interrogation and torture.
Candy Jones is hypnotized repeatedly and gradually describes her induction 12 years earlier into the world of spycraft.
So, Arlene, how did you get involved with the CIA?
I was completely desperate after my divorce. Broke, 2 kids. This neighbor, he was an ex-military guy. He said I could earn some money just by delivering a letter.
Yeah, this is very similar to Dollhouse. I would imagine Joss Whedon, as Jamie just said, I would imagine Joss Whedon is aware of all this stuff. Of course, he puts MK Ultra, in his movies and films all the time. It's even in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's in Firefly, right? The Summer Lau character is a mind control assassin. So clearly, and we just covered Joss Whedon's Dollhouse last week. Jamie and I did.
And she was recruited kind of under duress, kind of like.
Well, that's common too. That happened to Mata Hari, right? So in terms of Mata Hari, she gets recruited when her hubby dumps her, and she's got 2 kids or 1 or 2 kids. So she ends up forced into being a spy as a dancer.
This right here is legal.
Whoa, dude.
Best part.
Yeah, man.
And it comes right to your front door.
She's coming to my front door, dude.
She looks like
a stoner. So here's a little Mata Hari video. If you don't know about her, she was a famous World War I dancing lady. Scandalous, right? Controversy, right?
Who's the lady with the bananas?
Josephine Baker.
Oh yeah.
But there is the story of Mata Hari in about 4 or 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, and she's recruited into spycraft at the time of World War One because she was a scandalous dancing lady, and she was pushing the cultural envelope, the taboos back at the time of World War One. She did these famous nudie dances, which nobody had done before, right? At least not in public, I guess. I don't know where she was doing these nudie dances, but this guy covers it in this video. But she gets unfortunately forced into spycraft. So again, common themes here. Although she wasn't a supermodel, she was the equivalent of a SEX worker / entertaining dancing girl of her day.
If there were SEX tapes, she would have had one.
To a man called Dr. Jensen. So I did.
Miss Jones, please come on in.
Oh, Jamie, please come on in. I'm a good actor, I promise.
Pleased to meet you, Doctor.
Gilbert Jensen, please take...
Hey, can I be your handler? Is that cool, or like whatever? I mean,
he doesn't
maybe?
look like he can hurt you. Well, he's a turtleneck.
So let me be
on.
your handler, or whatever.
See, how do you do?
Under hypnosis, Candy tells Neville that Dr. Jensen worked for the CIA.
So, have you traveled far today? Get up early to be here on time? Yeah, I suspect you've had a long trip.
Oh, yeah.
And now you're feeling tired. Exhausted.
Is he the guy from Wings? He looks like a B-grade version of the guy from Wings.
You can close those big blue eyes, ready to rest and go into a deep, deep sleep.
Experiments with hypnosis really were going on in government agencies.
The CIA ran a series of mind control programs from 19...
There's Dr. Colin Ross. We've covered multiple books by Dr. Ross, by the way. We did his book on multiple personalities called Osiris Complex.
50 to the early 70s, all designed for mind control brainwashing, how to influence, control somebody's perception, behavior.
In 1972, when Neville hypnotized Candy Jones, this information was still classified. Only a CIA insider would have known it.
Anyway, we'll stop there because this goes on for another several 7 or 8 minutes. You guys get the point. If you want to watch the whole video there of that, I'll put it in the chat. You can watch it there. So let's get on to Zoolander, or else we'll never get to where we want to get to. You know, this is another fictional presentation that's making the points that we're making tonight. And going back and watching Zoolander 1 and 2, which I had not seen in years, especially Zoolander 1, I was pretty surprised. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in this that
really surprised.
Vindicates everything we talk about.
Zoolander 1 was 2001. And I remember when they were releasing photos of the big event in that year.
Mm-hmm. The Big 9.
Yeah. There would be lots of Zoolander billboards.
Oh, you mean like in New York around?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting.
And this is a VH1 film.
Yeah, so VH1 at one point made movies, which is interesting. I don't know how many movies they made, but this
MTV
is one
made
of them.
movies. And
Yeah,
VH1,
I remember that. Yeah.
So it starts out with, I guess, the Malaysian prime minister gets elected, and he's like for the people.
And he's going to put an end to child labor.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the models and the clothing cartels are, and the Illuminati are all mixed up in the fashion.
So the deep controllers, right, the syndicate tells Mugatu, and they actually run Mugatu, that he's going to figure out a way to get rid of the Malaysian prime minister so that they can have the sweat factories back, sweatshops.
And so they need an empty vessel, they call it, and he's like, that's the male model.
Right, and so the most empty vessel is Derek Zoolander.
Old Donald Trump is in this movie?
Yes. He pops up just at the first catwalk thing, right?
Mm-hmm. And then he's like on the red carpet too again, I think.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah. There's something about photos stealing your soul.
That's just a dumb joke that Derek Zoolander makes, right? Something like that.
Yeah. Oh, Fabio is in this.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameos, right? Zoolander 1 and 2 are known for all of the celebrity cameos that are in it. For example, in part 2, Bieber's at the beginning.
And they're lampooning a lot of things. Like, it's very tongue-in-cheek, but also very revelatory.
It is, because the satire is satirizing things that are real in this ridiculous world of high fashion.
Like, their awards is like the Slashy Award.
I didn't understand that. What was the joke with that?
Maybe just because it was like in the shape of a, what's a Slashy? I don't know. It's just a shard. So Gwen Stefani is in this, Gavin Rossdale, Trump, Lenny Kravitz, Will Ferrell. Do you remember a couple years ago with Lady Gaga?
Yeah, they were eating the human cakes.
Yeah, Will Ferrell was at that party.
And that was Marinka Abramovich.
Yeah.
That was her thing.
And then you have the modeling agency, Balls Models, which is, what's his dad's name?
Somebody said they got a fashion degree at Costco. What's what?
Ben Stiller's dad's name.
Jerry Stiller?
He plays the
Maury Ballstein.
Yes, the modeling agency guy who betrays Derek and hands him over to Mugatu.
Mm-hmm. Speak up into the microphone.
So they make this campaign called Derelict.
Yeah. So they're going to promote homeless aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They really have done this.
Balenciaga did that.
Well, there were people like 4 or 5 years ago, because we were making fun of it on Twitter, where it was like people wearing like tattered rags.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Balenciaga or something else?
It could be, but I know specifically they had this line of like purses that looked like a Tesco bag. Do you know what that is? That's like Walmart in England. Mm-hmm. So you could buy a bag that for $5,000 that looked exactly like a cheap grocery bag that you get at Tesco's or whatever. And yeah, and just making fun of people and what they can afford and what they can't. I feel like a lot of this is about disparaging.
The movie is satirizing the way that the high society works.
Right, but they actually do this stuff, and like also they won't allow homeless people to wear their clothes in real life. Like they get in trouble a lot because if they see homeless people wearing their stuff, they take it away. I don't know how they can do that. I think it was Hilfiger, one of those guys. Whoa, what is that?
Just satanic fashion. I mean, you type it in and it comes up. I mean, it's pretty much everywhere.
Okay.
So, but I was looking for the satanic fashion show that was in the UK a couple years ago that everybody remembers, right? Remember that? It was at an Anglican cathedral, right? So here's more of this BDS, you know what?
Oh,
stuff.
That's how they were walking at the Balenciaga show.
Yeah. I'm talking about this. You don't remember this in the Anglican church when they had the pentagrams?
No.
Yeah. You've been on podcasts where we covered it. This.
Hmm.
And there was a giant This is in a church, an Anglican church. Not that means anything. Those aren't really. I mean, I didn't really have a problem with this because like those Anglican churches are pretty much already satanic. So there you go, right?
It looks like a Mason temple too.
Well, the same people that built the Masonic temples built many of the Anglican cathedrals, so that's why. Keep going. Go ahead.
Funny thing in this movie, Mulder is Deep Throat.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that? And he's like a hand model.
Yes, and he's got tubes over his hands.
Yeah.
To keep his hands.
Hyperbaric chambers.
He's got hyperbaric chambers for his hands.
Oh, so they take Derek because he's gonna assassinate the prime minister.
Right. He's
so
mind control programmed to do this.
They take him to a spa.
But he has a trigger. You're forgetting his trigger code.
It's the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relax. Don't do it when you want to go. That's his trigger code to kill the Malaysian prime minister, which is pretty funny actually.
Yeah. So they take him to this spa and they like put him on this VR trip and mind control him, basically Manchurian candidate him into killing the Malaysian prime minister. And they're finding out that all of Mugatu's models die after they have completed some kind of...
Here's tattered rags
fashion.
Literally like what was in the freaking movie.
Mad Max. It's been like that for a while.
Well,
like
there was a specific one that came out a few years ago, and the guys were wearing just like the cheapest, grossest looking. That's not it. Just tattered rags. We were making fun of it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't find it, but surely somebody will remember it.
This kind of stuff is so annoying to me because I actually like clothes. But I hate waste. Oh, there was a ripped t-shirt.
It's not just ripped t-shirt. It was like it was beyond that. It was like next level. That's not it. I mean, it was a runway show of people wearing what looked like just tattered rags. I mean, it was like so ridiculous.
When they were wearing other models, like a strap to them, that was a weird one.
It's not just the holy jeans. It was like a whole thing of like it was trying to look like a homeless person.
Fallout. Click on that.
It was maybe it was one of these where they were. That's the game. It's not. But it was like maybe it was an apocalypse themed fashion show.
They've been doing that for a long, long time. Post-apocalyptic, dirty patch jean army.
I'm speaking of something very specific that happened, and everybody was making fun of it because like, oh, so I'm gonna pay millions of dollars for tattered rags. I don't know. It's not millions. Whatever these things cost, $10,000 to wear a freaking tattered rag. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, this whole thing is just look at this. What is this garbage, right?
They're
this
prepared for the apocalypse.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh, it's art. It's art. Could you imagine paying $10,000 for this? Look at this. It's a guy. Would you wear that?
That looks like what you're talking about. The guy in the middle, right there.
Kinda, yeah, kinda. Mad Max fashion. Let's see if this is it.
That guy?
This is it. It was this kind of stuff. Yeah. It's like a bag. Yeah, here, wear a bag. Right? Like a burlap bag. Like this.
Yep.
Yeah. Wear a sack.
You can't even be Tina Turner in Mad Max.
Anyway, go ahead. This is ridiculous.
Paris Hilton is in Zoolander.
I forgot she made a cameo. That's right.
David Bowie, Tyson the Mill model. Oh, this was funny. They were telling the story about how all the male models were responsible for political assassinations, like even going back to Abraham Lincoln. And
this is lampooning it. Yeah, they talked about John Wilkes Booth being an actor and an assassin. But this is kind of true. I mean, again, we've seen that a lot of these high-powered Hollywood A-list actress models are recruited into doing espionage. Sometimes, as we see in the case of Sonia Wiegert, by force. They don't want to do it. But what's in the movie is basically real. That's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. During his programming thing, they were telling him that he's genetically constructed to become assassin because the male models can't think for themselves.
Yeah, so they're a perfect programmable machine. That's the point.
Yeah.
They don't have a mind. And the way that a lot of the models act, they come off as, the idea of that you're walking down the runway and you don't have any personality or emotion. You're just this creature. You're a doll.
You're just
right?
a walking
doll.
advertisement.
A doll.
A doll, yeah. They said that Mugatu sold his soul to the devil.
Right.
Right.
Well, in the second one, he is a Hannibal Lecter cult leader.
Yeah.
And he's a Satanist, basically.
They push drugs and ORGIES as part of the model culture.
Right. One of the things that the movie correctly lampoons is that the high fashion world is the culture driver for changing everybody's ideas of sexuality. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what the high fashion world does.
They made a Space Odyssey computer joke. Do you remember that?
Space Odyssey what?
A 2001 Space Odyssey computer joke.
No, I don't remember. What was it? Do you know?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Anyway, so it's got trigger words. What else? The corn. It's not Korn. It's Justin Theroux who's dressed up he looks like the dude from Korn.
Limp Bizkit and Little Kim are in it.
Oh yeah, the Fred Durst.
Yeah.
Limp Bizkit's in it. I forgot about Little Kim. That's all 2000s there. So let's get to Zoolander 2, because Zoolander 2 also takes this to the next level, right? It's like we get the full-on Gnostic bloodline theme. Remember,
the
right?
Da Vinci Code, Merovingian.
Right, but it's in Rome. It's not
Yeah.
France. It's in Rome, and the special bloodlines are the beautiful one. It's Adonis. They make a reference to Adonis.
Right.
And it's the bloodline of Derek Zoolander, who will be this Adonis figure.
Uh-huh.
But Mugatu is part of a satanic cult that is sacrificing people to get the essence of their, I don't know what it is, but it's basically what we have with some of these people who are injecting the blood of the youth and teenagers into them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
Because
Fountain of Youth.
Kristen Wiig plays the person working underneath Mugatu, who is creating the line of Fountain of Youth, Aquavite.
So this one starts out. Zoolander 2 came out way later
Right.
as a sequel. So 2016 from 2001. That's a long time for a sequel. But it starts out with Justin Bieber getting killed at Sting's house.
Right.
Because he is part of this
you can save a
cult that protects the chosen one that you were talking about. Right? So this is weird. On the news, they say that Madonna, Demi Lovato, Justin Bieber, Usher, Bruce Springsteen, Lenny Kravitz have all been star-whacked.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it talks about star whackers, and they say that the models are the ones that are the assassins doing it. I don't think supermodels are killing everybody, but there are people that are star whacked, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you made a comment about how they used the CNN anchors in this movie.
Yeah, the real CNN anchors show up in the movie as CNN anchors. And we see that even in James Bond. Wolf Blitzer showed up as Wolf Blitzer, blending the worlds of fiction and reality, showing you that CNN is fiction.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally what that's showing you, right? So here's the beginning where Bieber gets assassinated, right?
So it's funny, they have to go get Derek Zoolander out of his hermitage to come back in, into the fashion world. They're trying to drag him back in, and it's still luxurious and stylish, even though it's somewhere in Tibet or in the mountains or something.
Right.
And they bring him to this hotel, and who's that guy you like, Kyle Mooney?
Yeah, he's funny.
He's like the new it guy in fashion, and
straight what's up? Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, dude, cool. Yeah.
He's like, I love you. No, I
love you guys. You guys
terrible.
suck.
Yeah.
Everything he has to contradict. Everything he says. Yeah, that part's funny.
So they take him to a hotel, and he's telling them the hotel's made of recycled human waste.
Yeah, it's
toxic.
It's sustainable.
Yeah.
But it's made with human waste, and everything in it's toxic.
It's fully toxic, zero footprint.
He's like, it's fully toxic, dude.
Yeah.
Zero footprint, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
And then he's like, the water's poison.
Right. So this is all true. That's the thing, right?
And then they're having the fashion show at an abandoned medical facility on top of an industrial trash heap.
Right. And keep in mind, Benedict Cumberbatch plays a non-binary supermodel.
Yes.
And this was 2016, before any of this big non-binary stuff was everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is Benedict Cumberbatch married to Kyle Mooney as a non-binary. The world's biggest supermodel is
his name is All.
The All.
Yeah, which is Pan.
Right. And by the way, and then Derek Zoolander shows up as Pan in one of the ads.
He's married to himself.
Herself.
Yeah. So.
But remember, in one of the ads, he shows up as Pan.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he's a centaur, but he's got
he's
the
a
pan.
centaur cow,
He's got the pan flute.
So he's doing the no eyebrows trend, which is going on right now, which Madonna's doing, Julia Fox is doing, Kim Kardashian's doing, and All is doing it in Zoolander. The reason that they called Zoolander and what's Owen Wilson's
Hansel
out of retirement is so that they could give them into a humiliation ritual. Remember?
Yes. So they're old and lame.
Yes.
That's
so
their name. Their names are old and lame.
They're wheeling out the new.
Right, because Derek and Hansel were culture pushers in the year 2001.
Yes.
And now they're old and lame.
Yeah.
And the new culture pusher is the All.
So, yeah, so the old male model's out and All comes down and whips them on the runway dressed as a fallen angel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that all of these celebrities are trying to send secret messages through social media with the look.
That part was weird too, because a lot of people theorized that Britney was sending messages. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any knowledge of that. But you remember when people were saying this, that she was saying, I'm trapped and this kind of stuff last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that then it came out, she was saying, they drug you. Right, and she's held prisoner. That all came out last year, and then of course you have Yee basically saying the same thing the other day about his handler and this kind of stuff. So, it's odd that all of this is now in the public sphere when it was in this movie.
The look that they give in their pictures as the signal message comes from his ad campaign where he looks like Pan.
Right.
But he's a cow, but that's just a comedic.
He's a centaur.
Yeah. Yeah, so the pop culture elites are promoters of
Well, he's a centaur cow, which
Yeah.
is part of the funny because part of the joke is he gets milked, right?
So they're promoters of alternative lifestyle because Hansel is in a relationship with an ORGY.
Yeah, Hansel marries a giant group of people.
Yeah.
And Kiefer Sutherland says he's with child, right? Now this is weird because again, in 2016, you didn't typically have mainstream this claim that men can be with child, and here we are.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. One of the scenes has
I mean, it's a joke in the movie.
Yeah.
And so what they're lampooning in 2016 is now being normalized.
Right.
That's crazy.
There's a scene where some of the characters are coming together asking, "Who am I?" The philosophical question. You remember that?
Yeah. So Derek Zoolander, it's a running joke in both movies. Is who am I? And then Hansel asks, "Who am I?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? Wow. And so the idea being that they're such idiots that it's funny that they would begin to ask these existential philosophical questions. And they're on the rooftop at one point, and Neil deGrasse Tyson makes a cameo, and he says, "Don't even ask such questions as who am I in an ever-expanding material universe. That's an irrelevant and ridiculous question."
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd because right around that time is when Neil deGrasse Tyson was going around in interviews saying, don't ask philosophical questions. Philosophy is useless and dead. All that matters is that we are pure matter in a materialistic universe. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they put it in the movie. And by the way, people believe this, right? They think that's science, right? If Neil deGrasse Tyson says that, "Oh, we're just matter," and this is a ridiculous question. Let me see if I can find it. It might even pull up Neil deGrasse Tyson on how I'm not joking. I put it in one of my essays, right? He says philosophy is pointless, and we all know why he says that. But yeah, here it is. Everybody knows why he says that. He says that because he doesn't like being asked philosophical questions. And he can't answer them, right?
Look at that picture.
A great job on the poetry of science. I wonder if you could say just a few words, both of you, on the philosophy of science. Just read Stephen Hawking's book, The Grand Design. First page, philosophy is dead. And here at Howard, our administration is proposing the abolition of our philosophy programs. Could you say?
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Why do you think they want to abolish philosophy? Even though philosophy is already pretty much dead in the sense of all these people are worthless, useless propagandists. I mean, all they do is indoctrinate you. And so look at this goober boomer here trying to suck up to Richard Dawkins and Neil deGrasse Tyson. We are already proposing to get rid of our philosophy department. Don't you respect us and love us? We're cucking to you so much. We love you. Oh.
A few words.
I have a couple of words to say about that. Up until early 20th century, philosophers had material contributions to make to the physical sciences. Pretty much after quantum mechanics, remember the philosopher is...
So, philosophers contributed to materialism and physicalism. And if you don't believe in materialism and physicalism, then you're worthless.
The would-be scientist, but without a laboratory, right? And so what happens is the 1920s...
Do you guys understand how low IQ this is? This basic bitch materialism is so stupid. And the only reason people believe this is because most human beings are conditioned to worship and follow public pop figures. They just defer to the aura and the persona of, oh, he's a famous science man. And this is philosophical gibberish. That's why he doesn't like philosophy, because he can't answer these questions, and he's been tripped up so many times over the years that he's just saying, get rid of philosophy.
Well, because one of the things I've learned by listening to your class that you're giving is that...
The Richard Grove class that we're doing.
This is the foundation of how to learn and think itself. And
correct. And do you think they want you to think and learn? Of course not. Go ahead.
That's it.
No, finish what you're saying. It's the foundation of how you think and learn.
Yeah, so they don't want you to know how to think. They just want to tell you what to think.
Correct.
Come in. We learn about the expanding universe in the same decade as we learn about quantum physics, each of which falls so far out of what you can deduce from your armchair that the whole community of philosophers that previously had added materially to the thinking of the physical scientists were rendered essentially obsolete at that point. And I've yet to see a contribution. This will get me in trouble with all manner of philosophers, but I call me later and correct me if you think I missed. If I missed.
Yeah, let's have a chat, Neil. I'd love to correct you.
Somebody here, but philosophy has basically parted ways from the frontier of the physical sciences. When there was a day when they were one and the same. Isaac Newton was a natural philosopher. The word physicist didn't even exist in any important way back then. So I'm disappointed because there's a lot of brain power there that might have otherwise contributed mightily, but today simply does not. Philosophy has it's not that there can't be other philosophical subjects. There's religious philosophy and ethical philosophy and political philosophy, plenty of stuff for the philosopher to do, but the frontier of the physical sciences does not appear to be among them.
Yeah, so just accept my dogma of materialism, and if you don't, you're worthless, because everybody knows materialism is the case because of science. And what is science? Materialism. So it's a snake eating its own tail, and it's a trap, it's a wizard spell that they cast on everybody, making them think that you can make these kinds of stupid contradictions, and it makes sense because it's authority figures telling you this. Where are we at in Zoolander 2?
They are after the water of life, fountain of youth. They are sacrificing to find what makes you look young.
What is this thing that they're doing, this process of there's the ambrosia, right? The blood transfusions.
Yeah.
And then remember when Kim was doing her
vampire
facials. Yeah.
The Kristen Wiig character, the one who talks like maybe a lot of, what's her name, Volkova or
right.
Abramovich or something like that. She talks about killing teenage girls and putting the skin on her face.
Ooh, we can find out the cost in the near me. Where can I get a vampire facial near me? What do they cost?
I don't. $3,000.
Whoa, dude, what a ripoff. So yeah, it's just scams, right? Let's see. Remember that picture of Kim?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Right here.
Well, you remember when Sandra Bullock went on Ellen talking about getting facials, Korean facials with foreskin and stuff?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was in Hocus Pocus 2, putting kids' skin on, eating.
Right.
That's.
In Hocus Pocus 2, they do the same type of thing to stay young.
Yeah. And in Zoolander 2, the cult is at the Vatican.
Yes. It's an underground cult in the catacombs underneath areas of the Vatican where the satanic fashion elite go and do human SACRIFICE.
Well, they have an alternative theology from the Garden of Eden.
It's Gnostic.
Yeah.
It's a Gnostic secret society theology that's based around immortality through human sacrifice.
Yeah.
And not just human sacrifice, but human sacrifice in the sense of the fountain of youth and these people gaining this power to, sell to people, basically.
And so it turns out the fountain of youth is a person, a descendant of the third person in the Garden of Eden, which is
Steve.
But the third person in the Garden of Eden would also be Lucifer.
Oh, interesting.
You can read it that way.
Yeah, good point. I didn't think about that.
Who is an ancestor of Zoolander and Zoolander's son. And all the top designers and Mugatu try to sacrifice Zoolander Jr. for eternal youth.
So here you have it. This is Science Magazine telling you right here that, this is what's really going on. I think it's Peter Thiel is involved. He has a company that does this. I don't know who else, but blood transfusions from the young, right? FDA shuts down ambrosia. I didn't know that.
This was also in The Simpsons, where Bart had to give his blood to Mr. Burns to restore his health or something. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So the twist at the end was like that the legend wasn't true, and he just wanted to blow up all of the top designers. Do you remember? He's like, it's BS. I just wanted to kill all of you with this bomb.
But it is true.
I know.
Because, Mugatu thinks it's not true, and he
Right.
just wants to get rid of his competition, right?
Yeah, because he's become like Hannibal Lecter.
Right.
And then at the end, when he's doing the sacrifice, he had horns like Pan Satan.
Right.
And then at the very end, they're saying on the news, it says, exposing designers in another child sacrifice scandal.
Right.
As if it's just like another chestnut.
Yeah.
Right? And, Zoolander Jr. is a plus size model.
Yes, they do the fat acceptance at the, right?
Yeah.
At the end of this. And in 2016, remember Tessa?
Yes.
That was really kicking up at the time of 2016.
I talked about her on a show because she had like Minnie Mouse stuff, and she was really over the top, like in a fetish way. Pictures of her eating corn dogs and. Okay.
Remember her?
Yeah.
Whoa, dude.
Like theater.
Yeah. This is aesthetic terror. This is
Feeders.
not right. This is not. So everybody remembers when she was on Cosmo. Remember that? That was everybody's talking about it. This is cultural warfare. What year was that? I can't read it.
2018.
Okay, so a couple years out, but she was starting to be famous in 2016.
Yeah, I remember. And doesn't she have a tattoo of Marilyn Monroe?
Probably.
Or Dolly Parton?
Dolly.
Well, Dolly's a monarch too.
She could have a tattoo of pretty much anybody. There's enough room.
That's true.
Haha.
Could she have a tattoo of herself? Does she?
She has enough room to have a tattoo of everybody.
But yeah, I couldn't believe how much freaking stuff is in the Zoolanders that is identical to Fashion Gate.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to read these super chats? So we
Sure.
got start right here, and if you notice they say something crazy, don't read it.
Okay. Pigeons Are Beautiful, $5. Hey Jay, did you know about Yves Saint Laurent graphic novel from the 60s? It's very disturbing. It's called La Vie, what is it?
Can't see. I don't know.
La Vilainelul. No, I never heard of that. I'll look it up.
Thank you for that.
Not of This Earth, $5. Can you please go on Tim Pool's show? You need to bust their liberalism bubble and give them insight on how elites would actually works. Also, insight on the whole Ye situation.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go on Temple, so just keep reminding them to have me on, and I think that's the best way to get it to happen. So, also, what was the last part?
Insight on Ye situation.
Do I have insight on the? No, I don't know. Right here.
Andrew Hartzog, $1. Hi Jay, was wondering if you got the chance to fix the Marcus Aurelius Stoicism lecture from way back. It doesn't seem to work for me. Thanks.
Yes, it should be fixed. So if the audio is not fixed, then you go to the video, because the video is the full lecture. So there's only one. There's the first clip is the first half. Okay, the other unlisted clip is the first half and the second half together in one clip.
Okay, Mugatu, $2. Can we get some blue steel? Can you do it? That's pretty good. You could be a male model.
Thank you.
You're not an ambi-turner, though.
No.
No.
I'd be more of a diva, but I'll take male model.
The Second Wolf, $10. Do an analysis on the game Skyrim. A lot of interesting symbolism in there and a fun game.
Is that really long role-playing game? Maybe I could do a boil down, but I don't have time to play through, a 40-hour role-playing game and beat it. But I do intend to do some more game analysis. So thank you for that, Second Wolf. Much appreciated. Maybe we'll play some more, Resident Evils and that kind of stuff.
Michael Jordan, $5.
Ooh, Michael Jordan, what?
Jay, lean forward and show us that trendy bacon neck shirt.
What's a bacon neck shirt?
I don't know.
This is I'm not joking when I said it was a what's his name? I've already forgotten his name. The fancy dude.
I love how you.
What's his name?
Dries Van Noten.
Dries Van Noten.
I love how you acquire clothes because they're all top quality, but they're all free.
Require clothes. I'm pretty sure most humans require clothes, but
the way that you acquire.
Oh yeah, I get a lot of hand-me-downs. So, what was it called? Bacon neckline. What is a bacon neck?
Trendy bacon neck shirt.
What's a bacon? Does that mean
Is that a red?
Does something?
I don't know. I never heard that before.
I'm getting assaulted and I don't even understand the insults. I'm getting negged as he gives me money and I'm getting negged. That was Michael Jordan too. That was number 23, Michael Jordan. Bacon neck shirt?
Yeah.
I was thinking of a bacon neck line. What does that say?
How to keep shirts from having a bacon neck.
What is that? I don't even know. Is that when it does this?
Oh, when you keep pulling on it and it gets wavy.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a big head, so when I squeeze my head through the neckline, it turns to bacon. So.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Next one?
Yeah.
Number 23, Michael Jordan.
Orthodox Imperium Rising, $100.
How about this, Michael Jordan? You stop gambling. You want to diss my bacon neckline. You stop gambling.
$100. Given the material tonight, are there some tips for artists, entertainers to avoid getting caught in the web?
Well, we're not in a world war, so you're not going to get recruited into being a World War II spy.
I feel like.
Well, look,
what?
Let me say this, and then you can go.
Okay.
I don't know what kind of artist and creator you do, but the more that you can be your own boss, the better. So the more that you are working for other people, the more likely you would be to being, conned into some contract or something where you can't be your own boss. So
I was going to say something along those lines. There's so many other ways to become well known with your art now that we have all these platforms that we have. And
all these wonderful platforms like Facebook and Twitter. And I'm just joking.
The gatekeepers don't have as much sway that they used to. And I feel like he said, if you can avoid the big record companies, the big modeling agencies, this is where you're going to run into people.
All that stuff's going away, dude. I hope that out of all of this, all this legacy stuff is done. That's what all this stuff needs to go away. So you need to not spend your money on any of this garbage.
Well, these are the type of people where you're going to meet witches and those types that will say, oh, we have this if you initiate yourself into this.
Don't go to any Eyes Wide Shut parties. How about that?
So I think if you're just a little bit well educated enough that you can avoid, being in an Eyes Wide Shut scenario, or just what are some of the carrots that they would
look?
What?
Make sure that every shirt has bacon neck, and nobody will recruit you.
If all your concerts you do bacon neck t-shirt, you should write a song. Bacon neck t-shirt.
I'm not inspired by bacon neck,
so
you write a song about it. It's inspiring you more than it's inspiring
but like he said, try and do it yourself as much as possible and steer clear of the big agencies that will introduce you to satanic people.
Seems like most of the people who've had these problems got into these big contracts for zillions of dollars and then had a nightmare getting out of these contracts, and that seems like the means of control.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that, Orthodox Imperium Rising, though. Great question right here.
Nike for us, $5. I just finished Far Cry 5. It's about a doomsday cult and goes surprisingly deep into mind control themes and symbolism, especially with the Faith and Jacob characters. They even lead you through MK Ultra like program and turn you into an assassin. Wow.
Yeah, and it's I think the recent campaign of Black Ops, the original Black Ops game, it was about the CIA and MK Ultra. So, and I think when they were running the ads, they were even playing the Yuri Bezmenov clip. So, and I did hear about Far Cry 5 and the plot, and I thought about playing it. So thank you. And the Kefaros will probably play that game as well. Right there.
Pee pee poo poo. $15.
He made you say it for $15.
God bless you, Jay. Also, the girl next to you seems nice. You should ask her out.
We are going to go to the hot dogs. We're going to go suck on a chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze next week. Suck on chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze. I hate that song.
We're going.
That's our date.
Jackson. Remember that song?
That's our breakup song.
Oh.
I'm going to Jackson. She's over here singing Johnny Cash songs and doesn't even know their breakup songs. Codes again. She's sending me codes right here.
Greek Creeper, $3. Great video as always. Could you quickly explain Sufism and how it's different from mainstream Islam?
It's mystical Islam, so it's like Kabbalism to Judaism, and both Kabbalism and mystical Islam are based on Neoplatonism. That's it. It's just repackaged Neoplatonism. Yee.
Kanye West, $50. Thanks,
Yee.
Kanye. Something crazy. That's all he says. Oh, because that's what gay says.
Oh.
Something crazy.
Haha.
Anon, $2. Should I read the Vedas? Is there any common ground with orthodoxy?
I mean, they're going to talk about principles of the one and the many, and so, there's some philosophical overlap, but, I mean, we don't believe in a bunch of demons, and so I wouldn't really it's okay to know about the world religions, but, I think that's a lot of reading, so, I don't see a whole lot of relevance in it. I have one big Oxford book on the history of Hinduism, and for me, that's good enough, so I don't, if you want to do that, that's up to you. But again, thank you, Kanye West, for that $50. We know that's not the real Kanye West because he goes by Yeet. And thank you, Anon, for that $2. I want to remind you guys, too, that our show sponsor is, of course, Shock.com, which is the best source for gaining toxic masculinity points. Do you know James Cameron just came out and said that testosterone is a toxin and that men need to rid their bodies of testosterone? I'm not joking. He said this. So no, James Cameron, we don't want to rid our bodies of testosterone. We want more testosterone. And one way to get more testosterone is through Tomcat Elite, which is proven in peer-reviewed studies to boost your testosterone. And Chalk.com also has a variety of other products, such as the Shilajit, such as the Ashwagandha, such as the 7 Wonders, such as the Action 2.0, such as the Daily. All excellent products to supplement the nutrient deficient diets that we all have. They also have this wonderful product, which Jamie always eats up, drinks up in her smoothie regimen, which is the chocolate. You can get that as well over there. But you have to use the promo code J50, JAY50. They get you 50% off, or the promo code J60LIFE, J60LIFE. It's in the show description. That gives you 60% off all the products in recurring subscriptions. And there's an advantage to that, which is that you don't have to worry with putting information in every month. And I know you're going to want Chalk coming on a consistent basis. So if you want to support me, you can do so by buying your supplements at Chalk.com. You can also buy my books and Jamie's books. Jamie has her little fancy, sassy books that she wrote on Hollywood and mind control. And I got my little fancy, sassy diva level books that I wrote on Hollywood, Esoteric Hollywood 1 and 2. I go deep into symbolism, and I have my other big fat book, the red book as it's called. Mao has a red book. Carl Jung has a red book. I should have a red book.
Yeah.
Because I'm a lot like those characters.
No.
Right? My red book's better than those red books.
Ye does love them, though. Still. With the love of humanity.
Oh, of all humanity.
Yes.
So you can get this signed at the website, and you can get Jamie's books, and you can get also meta-narratives, right? I don't have a copy over here. See the meta-narratives poster? Can everybody see that? Yeah. Get your copy of meta-narratives as well. All signed copies. Everybody always says, are they signed at the website? Yes, always. And Jamie's books at the website. They're also signed.
And tune into my channel that you can find on YouTube under my name, Jamie Handshot. And I will be doing a show about this stuff and more, bombshells and tea, with Rachel Wilson.